I would. Jarek Boykin, obviously a guy that Tyrod Taylor looks for a lot, had 164 receiving yards last year. But I think the loss of Ryan Williams, I know Darren Evans is there, but that allows the secondary to not have to worry about the run quite as much. And 1 year later, the secondary for NC State starting to settle into Mike Archer, the defensive coordinator system.
Well, as you can see, the Hokies preparing to kick off. It's going to be Justin Meyer. They are in white togs with white jerseys, the dark headgears, and North Carolina State. The deep receiver is TJ Graham. They are retired in both red tops and togs, white headgear. ACC contest, and this one is about to get underway, and we are. Deep kickoff. This one is going to sail to the end of the end zone, and it will be taken at the 20-yard line. So let's talk first of all about Russell Wilson a little bit more, the young man who hails from Richmond, Virginia.
And this is a guy who 3 touchdown passes in 5 straight games. We mentioned at the top of the show against Georgia Tech, he threw that interception that was returned for a touchdown, cut it to 3. The very next drive, he was surgical. They moved down the field very methodically. He threw a wonderful pass to TJ Graham in the end zone for a touchdown. Just absolutely let it roll off of his back.
As you can see, 4 wide receivers in the ballgame to open from a shotgun blitz right up the middle. Puts up a pass, has a man there, and it is caught at the 50-yard line by Jarvis Williams. And he had to unload it because of that linebacker blitz coming right up the middle. That was Govea, Winslow, and it's good for 31 yards. There's the composure we were about to talk about.
Yeah, and another blown assignment up front by NC State and a blitz pickup. And Wilson just has to heave that, but he has so much cohesion with these receivers, he feels comfortable doing that.
Well, as you at home could see, it was thrown absolutely perfectly, and he did that under duress.
Well, and they're reviewing whether the call on the field is that it was a catch by Jarvis Wilson. It's got to be a little concerning for Dana Bible to see his offensive line struggle again early last week against Georgia Tech. They missed a bunch of blitzes early, 3 sacks in the first half. Now the question is, it's the entire catch. You have to have it through the contact with the ground, and let's see if that ball comes loose. Nope, that's a catch. What a wonderful job by Williams, 6'4", and this receiving core. Williams at 6'4", Spencer at 6'3", Darrell Davis at 6'4", Stephen Howard at 6'2". They love the jump ball, and Russell Wilson throws it as well as anybody in the country.
Well, they do, because that's the sport primarily they come from. Jarvis Williams was an outstanding high school basketball player. Darrell Davis, the young man you just mentioned who plays behind him, the very same. And most of the times, basketball players have extremely good hands, which he demonstrated right there.
When they understand how to go up and get the, all those rebounding drills start to pay off. And it was interesting talking to Dana Bible.
After further review, the ruling on the field is confirmed.
But talking to Dana Bible about these basketball players, he said they finally, in the last couple of years, have bought in that we're now football players and have turned that mindset over and worked really hard. And, of course, a guy like Russell Wilson throwing you balls always helps.
Well, not surprising to see a blitz on the very first play of the ball game, because Bud Foster saw just what you and I saw yesterday in watching video, and they were looking to see if there were problems there. 5 yards, 10, counted off at 14 for Dean Haynes, the redshirt freshman out of Tennelle Hill, Georgia. 14 yards in the run play. Eddie Whitley on the stop, and they're going to come right back to the line of scrimmage with the hurry up.
Well, and that was just a blown contain by Davon Morgan, the strong safety.
Haynes in the flat, not going to go to him. He'll run. Cuts it outside at the 30, gets what he can, and steps out of bounds just short of the first down at the 26-yard line. Let's take a look and talk about the impact players in this ball game.
Well, for NC State at receiver Jarvis Williams, we've already seen the impact that he can have. This guy is a big play, big receiver. And defensively for Virginia Tech, John Graves, 27 career starts. He was the only returning starter in the front seven for Virginia Tech at the start of the season, so they really rely on his veteran leadership.
Well, the sweep comes to the right side and hit and knocked down behind the line of scrimmage. Gibson is there to make the immediate stop on Haynes. And now the Wolfpack confronted with a third down, and they lost about a yard on that play. So let's call it third down and 3 for the first.
And here is where Russell Wilson is so good. He's an excellent ball faker. So if you are Virginia Tech, you have to be very careful thinking this might be a run play, because play action is always in your bag of tricks with a veteran quarterback like this.
Haynes, the lone setback, and they'll give it to him. Tries to bounce it to the right, and it does. And depends on where they're going to give him the spot. Now, the linesman on this side made it a little bit shorter than what the men on the far side had done. And I don't think that's going to be enough for the first down.
Yeah, but you go for it here. It's 4th and inches at home. You've got a nice drive going. You don't want to send out Chakowski, your kicker. And to me, this is just a quarterback sneak. Find where a defensive lineman's not lined up, maybe over one of your guards, step to him and pick up this half a foot.
2 tight end alignment for the Wolfpack. 4th down and less than a yard. It will be a quarterback sneak, and I don't know on that second effort either, as Drager is the man. I believe you're going to see 33 had submarined and really messed up the play if you're a North Carolina State fan.
Well, and Russell Wilson, I don't know why he had to step to his right. It was a second effort that got him that. The center is completely uncovered. I'm not sure why he steps to his right. That was good penetration by Antoine Hopkins that pushed the right guard back, but with the center uncovered, just go straight ahead.
So the officials say first down, North Carolina State. If you just joined us, we're about to have played the first 3 minutes. They go with the running play to Haynes again. Tries to sweep the right side. Feet knocked out from under him at around the 21 by Bruce Taylor out of Myrtle Beach, South Carolina.
Taylor, a young man who is a sophomore and has really stepped up. They lost a starter, Barquell Rivers, to a torn quadriceps in the weight room this spring. And Taylor, a guy who is second in the ACC tackles for loss.
Mustafa Green in the game, and they throw it to him. He's open. 20, 15, inside the 10. It'll be first and goal from the 6.5-yard line for the Wolfpack. Finally stopped by Rashad Carmichael of the Hokies.
And the problem for Bud Foster right now is he's getting there with the blitz. The problem is he's going against a quarterback, a veteran guy who has such a great feel for the game that even though Foster's got guys running free, Wilson's starting to pick them apart. So you may have to start playing some coverage if you're Virginia Tech, because if you don't get there, that's what happens.
9th play of the drive coming up, and Mustafa Green will stay in the ball game at tailback. But they'll throw it. Looking over the middle, nothing there. Pressure now coming from the Hokies, and the pass delivered for the touchdown in the corner of the end zone by George Bryant.
Well, this is just masterful quarterback play. Brian releases. There was an outside blitz by Lindell Gibson. Brian works back. Good job by the tight end. Really nice. He never stopped. He moved back, came back to the outside. But Wilson, what an excellent scramble.
Keep in mind the tight end is 6'5 and a half, 265. And that defensive back was a net to him. Ball is down and the kick is up, and it is good. And Chakowski makes it a 7-0 ball game as Wilson demonstrates his mastery in the opening drive of the ball game. One more look. Nobody to the left. Now scrambling and throws to his tight end. 7-0 Wolfpack. Went down the field.
Yep.
3 minutes and 50 seconds on the drive. Chakowski kicks it off, and it's going to come down at the 2-yard line. David Wilson. David looks for an opening and almost had it. He'll take it to just across the 25-yard line. Well, the quarterback for the Hokies, Tyrod Taylor, senior out of Hampton, won a state championship in Class 5A and has garnered a lot of attention for very good reason. These two guys, both from Virginia, and they didn't really know each other that well, but they knew of each other's ability.
Well, it was Wilson was waiting to see where Tyrod Taylor would go. As soon as he got attacked, he said, okay, no reason for me to go there.
That was Cole in motion. Taylor, first down, throws a completed pass out to the 33-yard line. Boykin on the receiving end.
That was a nice rhythm throw by Tyrod Taylor. Watching last week the film against Boston College, he seemed like he got in his head a little bit a couple of times, held on the ball. That just an outcut by Boykin, a guy that he completely trusts. Throws the ball to a lot and got the ball out on time accurately. Nice pickup on first down.
In the backfield with Tyrod is Darren Evans at tailback. Redshirt junior out of Indianapolis. He stays in to block. Pass is thrown in and out of the hands of Jarrett Boykin. And let's take a look at a couple of more impact players.
Well, another guy that lines up receiver, Danny Cole, guy they go to a lot, sub 4.5, had that 81-yard reception against Nebraska last year. And for NC State, so glad to have Nate Irving back. Young man suffered a bunch of injuries in a horrific automobile accident in June of 2009. Has moved to that middle backer, 16 tackles last week against Georgia Tech.
In fact, Frank Beamer and his staff all said one thing that's obvious is that just Nate being back, he's making everybody better on this NC State defense. Pressure coming off the corner, and he's going to be sacked. Knocked out at the 26 by Audie Cole, a redshirt junior from Monroe, Michigan.
Well, both of these offensive lines have had their struggles this year. And Tyrod Taylor, there was a blitz coming off the edge by Cole, and Cole, they love to blitz because he's 6'5", so you can't see over him when he's coming, but that was a missed blitz pickup to the right by the offensive line and the running back Evans on that side.
Brian Saunders stands by to punt, number 30, waiting for the snap at the 12, and TJ Graham is the deep man for NC State. Not a long kick, off the side of his foot, going to bounce sideways at the 50, and now we'll take a little bit of a Virginia Tech bounce, and it'll be at the 48-yard line, though. Great field position when we come back for the Wolfpack. 1 yard shorter. It's like a 24-yard punt to open the ball game for Virginia Tech. Pass in the flat, almost intercepted, and he pumped and almost waited 1 count too long.
Jaron Hosley, a young man that Virginia Tech is very excited about, had a great interception last week against Boston College in the end zone. And this great field position, Virginia Tech, of course, known through time as a great special teams ball club, and that's not been the case for them so far in 2010.
So it's a second down and 10. Mustafa Green in a tailback. And the pass to the far sideline going to be off the mark. It'll be incomplete. Jarvis Williams, the man that he wanted, and it'll be a 3rd and 10 for this one.
Well, when you look at Virginia Tech, they've had a problem in the red zone, and they spread it out in the middle of the field, and they get down inside the 20, and they start packing in. I think they need to keep it spread and maybe get some Tyrod Taylor runs. And for NC State, max protective necessary. In other words, leave a back or a tight end, and we have already seen the struggles with picking up the linebackers. So to me, leave a guy or two in, pick them up, because you give Russell Wilson, well, not even if you give him time, he's throwing a great ball without time, but he will pick you apart.
Darrell Davison at wide receiver, going to go long, got single coverage downfield, and the ball just beyond the outstretched arms of Owen Spencer. Last year, Owen Spencer led the nation in average yards per catch. And he certainly would have helped himself right there had he been able to come down with that one.
He got so concerned with the defensive back. Both of them were kind of hand fighting. If he would have just started running full speed, I think that was a well-thrown ball by Wilson, but Spencer got locked up and slowed down just a touch.
Drager and Eddie Whitley applying the pressure on quarterback Russell Wilson. So their first punt of the afternoon. Pressure's on, flag goes down. And here is the difficult thing, as a fair catch is called for and made inside the 20. Folks, they had the punt blocked, and he almost ran into the punter before he got the kickoff.
Well, and the headaches for Virginia Tech on special teams continues. Kind of a mirror image of the opening night ball game against Boise State.
Running into the kicker.
Stopped.
against the defense. The 5-yard penalty is declined.
Yeah, Roberts had, you're absolutely right. Roberts had a beat on that. And if he cuts across,
he'd blocked it with his body, even if he hadn't extended his arms.
And that's what you do. A lot of times you put receivers on there, and Frank is really hot with him because all he has to do, it's like running a post route. Just put your right foot in the ground and cut across the foot of the punter, and instead of a penalty, you've got a blocked one, and who knows where the ball ends up. Now, look at the field position now.
Well, the Hokies are going to take it over at their own 7-yard line, trailing 7-0. 9:19 left to play opening quarter. Taylor, great protection, has a man, and in and out of the hands of the receiver. That was Donnie Cole, and Donnie almost fought that one a little bit.
Running the corner route, ball's underthrown just a little bit, but that's a catchable ball. Cole's got to come down with that. And backed up this far, I like the aggressive call by Brian Steinspring. It was there, you make it, you get some breathing room.
David Wilson in the ballgame at tailback, number 4. And he'll get the handoff right up the middle, bounces off the tackler, he's loose. 25 at the 30, still on his feet, loses the football, and it comes out of bounds, knocked out by his teammate at the 37-yard line. Dyrell Roberts, I believe, is the man who got the recovery, and I think it's going to be a gain of 29 yards.
And Wilson, a young man they're very excited about. Good blocking up the middle. Poor tackling there. 3 guys came together for the Wolfpack can't make it, but this is a guy with great speed. He's a track guy, triple jumps over 51 feet.
Well, he won the state high school championship as a triple jumper. And believe it or not, he weighs 200 pounds, which seems a little bit heavy for a track guy who's either long jumper or triple jumper.
But just right for a running back.
Perfect. Play action. Taylor with a good fake. A lot of time. Gets it out in the flat. And he hits David Wilson. And David gets hit immediately by Nate Irvin. And listen to the response from that student section. This man, they are so happy to have him back. They're so happy that he was alive after that car wreck that he was in.
Well, this is one of the things that Virginia Tech does. Watch all of the deep routes, and there's nothing in the middle, no crossing routes to bring that make the linebackers and the strong safeties have to come up. And studying them on film, it seems that they love that deep route, but they don't layer something underneath. So when you dump it off to the running back, there's nothing that the linebackers have had to respect behind them.
Well, you could see that low line in there that he had 16 tackles last week against Georgia Tech. And who is it again? Hello, Nate. Not only back-to-back tackles, back-to-back smashes.
Well, when we met with him yesterday, he was talking about the flow of the game when you're gone for a year. Watch how quickly he reads this. He's coming forward. It looks that was going to be a cross blitz between the linebackers. Give credit there to Mike Archer, the defensive coordinator. But he talked about his eyes coming back, seeing the game better.
3rd down, and the line to make it. They got to take it all the way out to the 43-yard line. 7-0, North Carolina State. Blitz comes right up the middle again. They pick it up. Pass in and out of the hands of the receiver. It's intercepted at the 20, 15, at the 10. C.J. Wilson, and he'll take it down inside the 5-yard line. 1st and goal, Wolfpack. Brandon Bishop will wind up getting credit for the interception as Andre Smith couldn't hold on to the football.
Well, this ball thrown a little bit high, which was the same thing we saw with the ball to Danny Cole. However, no, that's tough for a tight end. That's a big body, 6'5", 272. It was thrown a little high and behind him, so a difficult.
Wolfpack defense handing the offense a golden opportunity here inside the 5. It goes straight ahead with Haynes. And he's not going to have anything. It'll be back to the original line of scrimmage, which is around the 2-yard line.
Now you watch this Virginia Tech offense, and with the amount of starters they had coming back, 9, it lost 2 offensive linemen, and an offensive lineman and a tight end. But people expected Virginia Tech to be so much better offensively, but without Ryan Williams, and you talk to all the coaches that play against Virginia Tech, this is just a different squad. He's that good of a running back and been out since the East Carolina game.
Play action, throw the end zone. The ball is almost intercepted. That's Rashad Carmichael, who almost came away with the football. They were intending it for George Bryant, and George actually was reaching around the head of the defensive back to make the reception. Watch this.
No, that was excellent coverage that time.
He almost caught it on the back of his head.
By Carmichael. But you already mentioned Brian's size at 6'5", 265, and now 3rd and goal. I bet you Bud Foster doesn't want to let Russell Wilson stand in the pocket for too long. You've got one-on-one. I think fade up top maybe.
3rd down. They roll the pocket, and he throws it to his running back who had just circled out, and it's Haynes for the touchdown.
Well, excellent call by Dana Bible. You go with the play action. Look at all the white jerseys that bunch together to play the run. And Dean Haynes, who was a defensive back up until 2 weeks before their first game, runs a nice route and good throw.
Extra point attempt by Tchaikovsky is up and good. And with 6 minutes and 23 seconds left in the opening quarter, we'll watch it one more time going to break. It is 14-0 as they circled the running back out of the backfield. Haynes scores. And I tell you, they've been rocking and rolling, and they should have, because of the start by their ball club in the first almost 9 minutes of this ball game. This is Wilson. Tries to get outside, and a nice defensive play as he gets belted down hard at around the 21-yard line. And let's take a look back at our Chick-fil-A drive recap.
One of the things that NC State does so well is make you defend every eligible receiver. This time Russell Wilson finds Bryant, his tight end. Then they run the running back Haynes out of the backfield for the touchdown. The Wolfpack have 5 guys with 10 or more catches on this early season. Russell Wilson does a good job spreading it out, but Dana Bible calls a wonderful game. He makes you defend everybody.
The interesting thing is Dana and Tom O'Brien both have run up against Frank and his staff many times. Going to reverse his field, winds up with a gain of over 10 yards on the play. Stepping out of bounds at the 33 is Darren Evans. Nothing to the right. He brought it back to the left, and that's going to be the longest gainer by the Hokies in the ball game this afternoon.
Yep, I looked. You were just talking about how often Tom O'Brien and Frank Beamer have gone head-to-head. I look back. Of course, Tom O'Brien was a longtime assistant at UVA. They played Virginia Tech every year. Then he went to Boston College in the Big East, then the ACC. 22 of the last 24 years, Tom O'Brien and Frank Beamer have matched up on the football field.
It's going to be offsides against the Wolfpack. They get a free play here, and Taylor will take it really back to the line of scrimmage and go down, but he'll get 5 yards out of it. You know, actually, that is only the second longest play I mentioned. David Wilson, because of that fumble at the end of his play, that wound up being the longest from scrimmage for the Hokies this afternoon.
Offsides, 35 of the defense. 5 yards from previous spot, still first down.
Terrell Manning, redshirt sophomore out of Laurinburg, North Carolina.
And the ACC, when they expanded and took Boston College and Virginia Tech, got 2 of the best guys in the business, not only as coaches, but as men. And of course, Brian brought his act down here to NC State and starting to show a little progress, isn't he?
Yep. You know, we can't be prejudiced on the air, but these two are 2 of absolutely my favorite head coaches in America. No question. Got this one complete. Not enough for the first down. DJ Coles. Well, tonight at ABC, the top 2 teams in the Pac-10 battle as Stanford will take on Oregon. Stanford number 9 and Oregon number 4. It's presented by Southwest Airlines tonight. 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific. Or on ESPN2 if you don't get it on ABC. Evans and Wilson in the backfield this time. Second down, they need to take it to the 44. And Tyrod Taylor with an audible here. Option play, and they get it back to Evans. Turns the corner, not only has the first down, he's going to have about 6 more yards as Audie Cole will finally force him out of bounds.
Well, when you run the option, your receivers have to do a good job of blocking down the field, and DJ Coles that time did an excellent job. Good read by the quarterback. And Darren Evans, who back in 2008 set the ACC freshman rushing record, but then suffered a terrible knee injury before the season. Coach is feeling like he's getting back into his groove a little bit.
That's Andre Smith, the tight end in motion. Sets up on the right. Taylor looking, now delivers. Has it complete. That is a great job of making the catch and staying in bounds. Marcus Davis on the receiving end, and the defensive back doing everything he could, C.J. Wilson, to convince the official, but he did. This is a really nice job.
And Marcus Davis, a young man that the coaches have been waiting for. Lots of talent, starting to show it in games. I'm not sure that's a catch. Looked like he may have.
The right foot was down before he stepped back there. Right there. Taylor gonna run. Goes down. Whoa. Went under the defender, which is probably the best move he could have made. And Michael, and I think that was Nate Irvin. It was that he went underneath. And Tyrod was very wise to make that move. They're going to give him forward progress to the 31-yard line. That's 3 tackles now for Irvin in the ball game. Quick out pass. Oh my goodness. Just as soon as the ball is caught, Audie Cole had come across and made the hit. We've got Cole already for 4 individual stops in this first quarter.
Mike Archer was telling us yesterday, the defense coordinator for NC State, that this is the best group of 3 linebackers they have had since they've been here as a staff. And Cole, a guy at 6'5", he moves better than you think. You can put him out in space. This time he's lined up on a slot, and there's just no chance for Dyrell Robert at 189 pounds to block him.
By the way, John Tenuta is the linebacker coach here at North Carolina State. Third down, over the middle, too high, intended for Andre Smith.
And the problem is you're going to 4th down on the 32. This is outside of the range of Chris Hazley. The problem is you bring your punter in, and if you kick this into the end zone, you're only going to gain about, call it 18, 19 yards of field position.
Yeah, so what Brian needs to do is kick it about the distance he did the last one, which was only about 25 yards.
You like to see an angle kick here. Try to get it around 10 or the 5 right on the sideline.
Yep. Well, it's a pooch kick, but now it's going to take a Virginia Tech bounce and is going to be down at the 6-yard line. And let's check in with Robert Flores in New York. Robert? Poorest field position of the afternoon for NC State as they scrimmage from their own 6-yard line. Following that punt for this touchdown there. Mustafa Green takes it straight ahead, just short of the 10, tackled by Davon Morgan. Davon, a really, really good, strong safety. You remember he injured his right knee last year. It was a devastating loss to Virginia Tech. A major loss for them, a 3-year starter. And they got him back, and he really helps make a difference in that secondary.
Now they need as many veterans as they can get. This Tech defense is going to be great next year. Right now they're fighting through some growing pains, so you need all the seniors running around you can.
Play action to Green, but a throw over the middle, and it is caught at the 35-yard line by Owen Spencer. That's a nice job of protection by that offensive front. Good for 30 yards.
Great crossing route with the tight end, Brian. And you see how quickly that ball has to drop in there before the safety gets there. That's the one thing we noticed on film. Russell Wilson is great at knowing exactly when he has to throw the ball. If that's a half a click later, the safety's going to make a play on that ball or the man and break it up.
Mustafa Green right at the middle. Has 5, has 10, counted off at 12 yards. Rashad Carmichael saved a touchdown on the play. Let's take another look.
Well, this offense lost to James Washington, a running back, to a hamstring. We already mentioned how Dean Haynes came over from defense, but Green, a true freshman out of South Carolina, starting to make an impact. And you're already hearing the crowd. They're not booing. It's moo for Mustafa. So you know a guy's a pretty good player when he's a true freshman. They're already doing that.
Irmo, South Carolina, his home. Play action. Sets in the pocket. Going to have to hurry and is going to be sacked. He was hit behind the line of scrimmage and knocked down by Stephen Friday. So behind the line, that'll be credit for a sack. And they will lose about a half yard on the play.
Friday. Excuse me, Ron.
No, just good pressure by the Hokies. And they know they got to get their backs up right here because already down 14-0 in the final moment of this opening quarter. They can't give away any more points, not anytime soon, and stay in this ball game. Wilson. Wide open at the 20-yard line. Owen Spencer. I don't know how he got that wide open. Somebody just lost him, and they're going to give him progress to the 22-yard line as Jaron Hosley came over to make the tackle. Wow.
Hosley's down here. He's making some kind of hand gesture. I suspect that there was, as the corner lets him go, Hosley bails to go to the middle of the field. They had to think that the coverage was Hosley bailing like that. He had to think the corner was going to come back with the receiver Spencer. But that's one of the things Virginia Tech has had trouble with in their secondary, blown assignments.
Back-to-back catches by Owen Spencer of 30, and now with 28 yards. That is the end of the first quarter. And across the way in the student section, they're standing and cheering, and rightfully so. Boy, the Wolfpack have really put on a show in the first 15 minutes here.
To start stepping up because they just not quite lining up right.
Wilson throws for the end zone. Battle. Spencer, the intended receiver. No flag and an incomplete pass. Let's take a look at the stats in that first quarter. And at 154 total yards to 62 for Virginia Tech. I'm looking on the other stat sheet that shows in a total of 20 plays in the first quarter, 10 run, 10 pass.
Yeah, complete balance. That's pretty much what they do all the time at NC State. But that average start, the own 43 for NC State, a function of a dysfunctional kicking game and a turnover for Virginia Tech.
Straight ahead with the running play, and Mustafa Green is going to be stopped at the 20-yard line. Now big play decision time as Morgan came over to make the tackle. They're at the 20-yard line, and they've got third down, and they need to take it to the 12-yard line to pick up the first. As Tom O'Brien pieces the sideline.
Well, the good news for NC State is you got a quarterback who is allergic to interceptions. So you've got a guy that you can completely trust. A lot of times because you're up 14, you may think a screen or a draw here, but I think you can throw this to the middle of the field and be okay.
Pressure, steps up, throws the ball for the end zone, and he overthrew it, looking for George Bryan to tie it in. And again, he had to get rid of the pass a little bit before he wanted to because of the pressure coming from that Bud Foster defense, the Hokies.
And this is not an automatic all of a sudden for NC State. Josh Chakowski missed 2 chip shots from 31 yards last week. So it's not a gimme. Said he got a little quick, just rushed his steps into the ball.
Chakowski, the ball will go down at the 27, so we'll say officially a 37-yard field goal attempt. And line drive, aesthetically, it gets about a 3, and the kick gets exactly a 3. It is good, 17-0 NC State. Chakowski kicks it off. High spinner, this one returnable from the goal line. It's David Wilson. Wilson treated rudely at the 20-yard line. Well, after making a serious statement with a victory at Dover, defending champion Jimmie Johnson, now in second place in the chase standings, has his sights set on overtaking current points leader Denny Hamlin. The chase for the NASCAR Sprint Cup continues at Kansas on ESPN Sunday. It's at 1 o'clock Eastern Time, and coverage actually begins with NASCAR Countdown at noon on ESPN2.
How different would this game be if Darrell Roberts would have gotten that block punt and Friday would have gotten that block field goal?
And that's not really a woulda, shoulda, coulda. I mean, they were that close. Well, Taylor's going to take it himself out of bounds at the 23. David Amerson came over defensively to get the push on him. Andre Smith will go to the sideline as the Hokies get a replacement in for him. And I keep looking at left tackle. Looks like Andrew Lanier is still operating over there. Nick Becton, they were hoping would start. He had a turf toe. Was going to be a starter this year. And then got his toe stepped on again in last week's game. Option play. They pitch it back, and that's Wilson. And Wilson, boy, the defense of the Wolfpack playing better and better with each snap, it would appear. Let's check in with Robert Flores in New York. David Wilson, the lone setback. It's third down. The line to make is up at the 31. Blitz coming right up the middle. Picked up well. And the pass thrown to an open receiver, Darrell Roberts, and he threw it just a touch too high.
Taylor's pressing it a little bit. I think he's feeling the stress. His senior year started out 0-2. They lose Ryan Williams, who is just one of the best players in the country. Forget position. Ryan Williams is a standout. Loses him, and it just feels like he's pressing a little bit. That ball needs to be completed by a third-year starter. Just think he's a little in his head.
Well, let's see if Saunders can get a foot into this one. T.J. Graham, the deep man, and here's his best kick of the afternoon. Driving spiral all the way back to the 18-yard line, and great coverage by the Hokies on the special teams. He will be stopped at the 17-yard line. 56 on the kick, -2 on the return. From special teams, and let's see if it pays off for the Hokies. Pressure, and he just throws this one away. Row 314 over just beyond the student section on that throw. Gibson and Hopkins putting on the pressure.
And I think a good adjustment early in this game by Bud Foster. Earlier we saw him bringing a lot of pressure. They've started to run some three-man line to get more speed on the field, but now starting to play more coverage. And luckily for him, his defensive line's cranked it up a little bit and starting to get some rush on the passer. Here's that three-man line.
Derek Hopkins was the man who was applying the pressure. The freshman, his older brother, Antone, also out of Highland Springs, is playing on the other side of the line, as the running play is going to go just across the 20-yard line. Well, now it's time for our Aflac trivia question.
Aflac!
The last time NC State was in the top 25 was 2003. Who was the quarterback on that team? We'll come back with the answer shortly. You know this one. You're an ACC fan. Third down, they need to take it out to the 27. Pass over the middle is not catchable. Jarvis Williams, the intended receiver, and he couldn't get up high enough. So Russell Wilson will come to the bench. That's their first 3 and out of the afternoon.
And that's huge for Bud Foster and his group. That is what you used to seeing with Virginia Tech. A really nice special teams play.
Yeah.
Defense comes out, gets a 3 and out, gives their offense a chance. Now, the offense has to answer. They have to come up with something and get some points on the board, because you can't just keep putting Russell Wilson out there.
Well, Andy Leffler comes in to punt, and this is an area that the head coach Tom O'Brien said yesterday, quite frankly, they need more consistency in. Here's the kick. It's a short, wobbly spiral, and now it's going to bounce away from the deep man. And what made it very good on a punt that was not real good, it hit so far in front of the return man, then hit the ground, and it bounced for another 20 yards. Let's take a look now at our Pacific Life game summary.
Well, if you like an offense that is diverse, has a good power run element, quarterback who is great in the pocket and getting out of pressure, you'll like NC State. The first touchdown pass went to the tight end, George Bryan. And the second one was off a play fake to Dean Haynes. But this offense, they can spread you, they can pack you in, and they've got a quarterback who has command of it all.
Oglesby joins Darren Evans in the backfield for the Hokies. Tyrod fumbles the ball, now secures it. And he's going to run and come out of bounds at around the 25-yard line. A gain of 2 and a lot of duress for the quarterback who couldn't handle a low snap on that one. Terrell Manning forced him out of bounds.
Just took his eyes off it for a second. You know, the quarterbacks, a lot of quarterbacks in shotgun snap, they like being back away from the action so they can see, but the problem is you have to see the ball into your hands on a bad one like that, and you have to take your eyes off coverage. That time Tyrod tried to keep his eyes on coverage, took his eye off the ball, and it hit the ground.
Looking, steps up into the pocket, and is going to be knocked down as he crosses the 30 by Nate Irvin. And I think unofficially that is 4 tackles for Big Nate. I mentioned John Tenuta as the linebackers coach for defensive coordinator Mike Archer. A couple of guys that are former head coaches.
Tenuta, defensive coordinator for many, many, many years.
No first down here. Going to be shy of the line, which was the 33, and Nate Irvin stepped up to make the tackle for the Wolfpack. There's a look at Mike on the sideline, Coach Mike Archer.
Well, and he called a pinch and then a linebacker flow on that one. Watch the defensive lineman pinch to the inside and Irving step along, and nobody step around. Nobody from Virginia Tech gets up on the linebacker. The left tackle, Andrew Lanier, is supposed to be able to come off, but because of the stunt, the pinch to the inside, a really good call by Mike Archer on that one. Expecting the inside run, exactly what he got.
So Saunders will have to kick it away. Graham is the deep man. It's a nice long high kick from the 20. Flag comes down and going to be pushed out of bounds as he crosses the 30. And I think the Wolfpack are going to have to take a walk back on this one.
Yeah. Clearly a block in the back. Quite sure they won't wave this one off like they did against Boise State in the fourth quarter in that game, which was a huge wave off of a penalty. He was right on the line. Admittedly, could have gone either way, but Frank Beamer not happy with that call that got pulled off in that Monday night up at FedEx Field.
There are 2 fouls on the play. During the return, block in the back against the receiving team. That's a 10-yard penalty from the spot of the foul. After the play, dead ball, personal foul, unnecessary roughness against the receiving team. Number 49. That'll be half the distance to the goal. First down, media timeout.
So let's take a break. 17-0, NC State.
1,000 more than anyone in the history of the ACC.
Straight up the middle, big opening. Mustafa Green. He's got chasers, but can they catch him? And they do. Inside the 45-yard line, Govea Winslow makes the stop after a 49-yard gain.
Just a real simple zone run scheme. Excellent job by the right guard.
Zach Allen.
Yeah, Zach Allen got himself a pancake block. And that's exactly what Green cut behind. Just got his pads under the defensive tackle and drove him right in the dirt. That's exactly what Tom O'Brien, a former offensive line coach at Virginia, likes to see.
Well, they're going to run a little reverse. Ball is on the ground. I think it's recovered by Virginia Tech. Well, let's wait.
No, he lost it. He lost it. Derek Hopkins, the freshman, fell on it on his pads. You've got to cradle it. You do. When the ball's on the ground, you can't fall chest first on the ball. You have to fall on your side and watch as the ball hits the turf. And just a mishandle there, but watch Hopkins falls chest first, belly first, and it comes right out. You have to put your side next to it and cradle it, because when you land on the ball, you bounce off it and you don't get it.
So with a second down and very long, here comes pressure on the quarterback. The ball is thrown forward, almost like a shovel pass. And I'm waiting to see if they're going to call, they're going to say incompleted pass. So it'll be third down. Third down and 17.
Yeah, that was good pressure that time by John Graves.
By the way, Derek Hopkins, who was very close to going in the record books of having recovered that fumble, his nickname is Skip. His older brother, Anton, is Hop. And they have a younger brother at home, and guess what?
Jump.
Jump is what his nickname is.
Well, they have to hang out with running back David Wilson, who's the triple jumper.
Well, whistles now, but the play is going to be stopped. For Wilson, he completed his first 3 passes of the afternoon, and since then is
NC
3
State.
of 11.
It's their first charge timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
So we'll take a timeout. 17-0 NC State. And Mustafa Green has had himself a really outstanding afternoon. Third down. Wilson throws it far sideline into coverage, and I think this one got picked off. It did by Hosley. Nope. Yeah. The official calling timeout. It's the first turnover. But that one he threw into coverage and just kind of threw it up for grabs.
Yeah, this is one that Russell Wilson would want back. And the thing that Dana Bible will tell him is it's third down. Well, you look at it. If you don't complete this and you punt it, yeah. I mean, you still don't want to be throwing interceptions. You come down, there might have been something you could look at underneath, try to do that. But really, you look at the field position game, not terrible.
Tyrod Taylor trying to get something going. Play action, going to keep it. Has 5, has 10, has 15, and he's off big. Tyrod Taylor to the 30, 25, 20. Shoved out of bounds, stepped out. Let's see, the official, one continued to follow him, and he's going to say, I believe, at around the 5-yard line. Emerson is the guy who finally gave him a shove. That is 78 yards on the run from scrimmage by Tyrod Taylor.
A great double team at the point of attack. You could see the back of the jersey of Greg Nosal. Got a really nice double team, pushed him up and allowed a huge hole for Tyrod to run through.
Virginia Tech back quickly to the line of scrimmage as Taylor looks to the sideline.
Further review.
Frank trying to get a play off here, and I don't blame him because, quite frankly, I thought he stepped out of bounds a little further back than he did, but the official just kept on running with him. But anyway, it is a huge chunk, their longest play of the afternoon, and watch right there. I thought that's where he stepped out of bounds. Emerson is the man who was forcing him, but still, they're going to have the ball in great field position. Steps out, let's see, right there. That's going to be, what, the 11-yard line.
Awfully close. I can see why the field judge maybe thought he stayed in. I mean, he might have had a blade or two of white grass underneath his big toe. So that'll come back to the 12. But this is where Virginia Tech has really struggled.
After further review, the ball carrier stepped out on the 11-yard line. First and down.
But this is where Virginia Tech has gotten stuck in mud. 18 trips inside the 20 coming into this game and only 9 touchdowns.
Tell you what, though, Frank wants that opportunity right now because they've slumbered a little bit on offense today, and now maybe this is the play that will awaken them.
They tend to pack it in and run on first down in the red zone. Let's see if they spread it out a little bit and let Taylor throw it.
Taylor under center this time. Straight back to throw. Far sideline. And the ball tipped, and that's a nice defensive play by C.J. Wilson.
Well, they were trying to set up the corner route to Danny Cole. They had Andre Smith, the tight end. Cole goes to the inside and breaks back to the outside, but this is just wonderful coverage by C.J. Wilson. This secondary that got torched last year by Virginia Tech amongst other teams has really started to grow up.
So it is second down. David Wilson now the lone setback, and this time Taylor will go from a shotgun formation. Blitz coming off the corner. Quarterback keeper right up the middle. Great idea, and all of a sudden that hole just closed, and it was Kuhn who was there. Marcus Kuhn, number 91. With injuries, a redshirt junior, and he closed it up and made a very valuable tackle, because I thought for a moment there Tyrod might take that thing into the end zone.
Now this is where I feel like you get your tight end involved. Andre Smith at 6'5", had 4 catches last week. Get him in the middle of the field, make the safety and linebackers go to him, and do some type of crossing route, maybe underneath of it.
Third down. They can pick up a first down at the 1. Taylor avoids the pressure. Scrambling, now throws, and he caught it. And that is Andre Smith, the tight end. He may be 6'5", 272, but what an athletic move. And I'm not sure Amerson could have covered him any closer without interfering.
Well, the tight end gets almost a free release. He's going to run out, and that's a really good coverage by Amerson. As Amerson goes, Smith breaks the outside. Amerson lost track of where the ball was, but what a sensational catch to lay out. And you're right, I don't know that Amerson could have done it much better, but a good job by Tyrod Taylor in scrambling to get over there.
Hazley to attempt the extra point. Ball is down and the kick is up, and we got a 10-point ball game. And as we go to break, let's take one more look at the play this time. So probably what might be a good thing is just a line drive that suckered.
Yeah, he ran a 10.4 400 meter in high school, so not sure how much you want him catching it.
Well, it's a knuckleball, and it's taken on the fly to 17. Now turns it back into the middle, and across the 32 to the 33 is Underwood. Michael Chiklis stars in the super-powered series of ABC's No Ordinary Family. That's Tuesday at 8, 7 o'clock Central on ABC.
Well, we've seen Bud Foster going back and forth with Dana Bible, 2 of the best minds in football as far as an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator. Tech has gone to more coverage. They're not blitzing as much, so let's see what adjustments Dana Bible now makes.
Well, they come with a blitz right up the middle this time, and they have to hurry the throw, and Spencer, he caught another one. And I mean, he did it with a defensive back all over him, Eddie Whitley. The blitz was perfect, but the throw was perfect.
Well, this is the exact same play we saw earlier in the game. Blitzer comes free in the middle. You only had 5 blockers. They brought 6, so someone's going to come free. And a lot of times you think you're going to cut the route off, but one of the adjustments by Dana Bible is, no, we're going to go vertical when you blitz.
So very quickly back to the line of scrimmage. They go with a running play, and it's going to be maybe a gain of 1 by Haynes. Davon Morgan defensively for the Hokies. Clock runs with just under 6 minutes to play until halftime. 17-0 our score at the end of the first quarter. All Wolfpack in that first quarter of play. 14-0, I beg your pardon, and he added the field goal in the second. Quick pass, look in, and That didn't hit where I think it did.
Yeah, no, it hit Brian right in the helmet. There was a slant.
That's what I thought. I heard a bang.
Yeah, there was a slant going to T.J. Graham, and I think that the tight end Brian ran the wrong route, because you wouldn't run a slant with an outcut by your tight end to the same side, and Brian didn't even get his hand around, and that ball was being thrown to Graham. That's a fastball. You got to throw the fastball on the slant. So mental error there by Brian.
So the coordinators, Dana Bible is behind that window upstairs, and that was Bud Foster down on the sideline. Here's a pass that's caught out of bounds. Jay Smith, the intended receiver, and it was Drager, Chris Drager, number 33, applying the pressure.
Well, and I think you go for it here on 4th down. If you can consider going for it, because the problem, you're on the 32. Again, a punt. You're outside of, right outside of field goal range for Chakowski. You've got a good quarterback. Virginia Tech's been struggling offensively. I think this is a go for it. And a slant won't get it. It's got to be a vertical route here, I think, to the left.
NC State 1 of 1 on 4th down conversions. Pressure coming off the corner. Going to go for the end zone. Lobs it up, and the ball is tipped away. Incomplete, and it'll be Hokie football with 5:28 showing on the clock.
And that's the exact same route that they hit a touchdown last week against Georgia Tech to T.J. Graham. And remember that throw against Georgia Tech, Russell underthrew it and put it on the back shoulder. This time there's great coverage by Exum, the freshman safety, and he tries to overthrow it that time, and really a good throw. Graham just cannot come up with the ball, but that
hit
was
him in the face mask.
Yeah, that was a nice throw by Russell Wilson.
Yeah,
that should have been caught.
It really was. So it's 1st down. The Hokies have it at their own 31-yard line, and plenty of time to get on the scoreboard. They roll the pocket, and boy, what a hit. Tyrell Roberts, the intended receiver, and he's hurt. Tyrod Taylor really took a shot. Now he is up. But Nate Irwin got out there, and Irving was there. Tyrod, instead of throwing it 1 beat quicker, watch what happens.
And low chest area to not be called. If he'd have gone 5 or 6 inches higher, they probably would have called hitting a defensive player at the shoulders or above, but Irving did a good job of getting his pads down and hitting him more in the chest.
2nd down and 10, 17-7. NC State on top. Great protection. Now it breaks down, and he's going to be tackled. Number 56, Nate Irving. Well, 16 tackles last week against Georgia Tech.
He's going to have about 32 today at the rate he's going.
Boy, I'm telling you.
Yeah. And this is a young man who was in a horrific car crash. Watch, he's going to blitz, and he's going to get picked up by the running back, Evans. Evans got tangled up with the center's feet, and Irving just goes right by him. And the coaches hope that Georgia Tech game turned on the light bulb for him after a year away from football, and it sure looks like it did.
3rd down. They're going to take this all the way out to the 42. Taylor deep over the middle. Ball dropped at the 45. Danny Cole.
Well, Tyrod Taylor hung in there and made a pretty nice throw. Hokie wide receivers not really helping out the quarterback, so the struggles continue for Virginia Tech offensively, but that after getting a tough hit, then a sack, Taylor threw a pretty decent ball into a nice hole there.
This is their 5th punt of the first half. Wobbly spiral, not particularly long, but NC State lets it bounce, and it takes a Hokie bounce down to the 25-yard line. 52 yards on the kick. Let's take a look now at today's Good Hands play, brought to you by Allstate.
Well, Andre Smith not only does a nice job of staying alive, but this is a wonderful catch. A senior making the most of his chance to play, does a good job of turning and putting his hand underneath the ball, so it is a completion, but He and Stephen Friday, the defensive end, guys who didn't get a whole lot of time before this year, making the most of their last run as Hokies.
NC State now with 4 minutes and 23 seconds to work with. Gets it out to the fullback. It's Taylor Gentry. And he'll be pushed out of bounds at the 28. Now, folks, I want to give you a stat. This is the honest to goodness truth. Tom O'Brien, it's not that he dislikes fullbacks. He loves them as blockers,
but not.
He never gives the ball to the fullback.
We asked Russell Wilson in our meeting with him yesterday. We said, is there a play in your playbook that goes to the fullback?
Not that I know
of. And he
of.
looked at us and he thought for a minute. He goes, you know what? There's not.
Not that I know
It's not
of.
even in the playbook.
Oh, my goodness. Second down, and this running play is going to take it out to around the 31-yard line. Clock now under 4 minutes to play. That is truly an interesting number.
Well, and not to run off guys who were thinking about coming to play as fullbacks at NC State. They do throw it to them a ton. I mean, Gentry is a guy that they use a lot, a very good athlete with good size, 6'2", 250. I mean, this guy comes out of the backfield. He gets the ball in his hands a lot, just not a lot by a handoff.
Oh, my. That reaction yesterday by Russell Wilson was hilarious.
He had to scratch his head for a second.
Do you have one of those plays? Well, not that I know of.
And you'd think the quarterback would know of it.
Yeah, for sure he would. That pass thrown complete, and it's Owen Spencer. And the yards after the catch also is when this young man can really put you in jeopardy defensively. He's down to almost the 45-yard line. Hosley runs him out.
Well, just a wonderful job by Spencer. You hear receiver coaches talk all the time, catch the ball away from your body, don't cradle it. And watch as Spencer, and the ball gets there, gets his hands up, catches it away from him, and the thing that does is it always adds to the yards after the catch. If you have to cradle it for some reason, your feet stop, and the defense can come over and make a tackle.
It's 115 yards for him in receptions in the first half. He had a 30 and a 28 back-to-back, and now this one of 23. That ball tipped and knocked away. Intended for George Bryan.
No, that was not a wonderful throw by Wilson. He throws it behind Bryan, and very lucky that Bryan, with that big body, able to get up over the freshman Exum. Exum good size at 6 foot 219, but that ball a little behind the big tight end.
So the clock is stopped, 2:34 to play until halftime. 10-point lead, NC State. And they stay with the running play. Green. And Green is going to make it a third down and about 4 as he'll have it to the 40. Well, coming up, the Cooper Tires halftime report. Get all the information on other games being played around the country. Understand Oklahoma has gone up over Texas 21-7 down to the Cotton Bowl. Opening day of the State Fair always. Third down. He's going to run it. He's going to have the first down plus about 6 more yards as Lindell Gibson will make the tackle. But now the clock is stopped, 1:51 to play, and North Carolina State will hurry up.
And with 2 timeouts, they don't have to be in a super hurry. Do anything you want here offensively. We have not seen really a wide receiver screen, which is a big part of their playbook.
Blitz coming, and he's going to be sacked. Boy, that was Gibson, and Gibson really timed it perfectly. And it's almost like he hid behind the side of one of those offensive linemen and then just burst through.
Well, this is a excellent job.
Right there.
Charge timeout, NC State. That's their second charge timeout of the half. 30-second timeout.
So we'll take a short break. We'll be right back.
In the Atlantic Division behind Florida State, Clemson, and Boston College. And it's starting to look like they're in the driver's seat, actually.
Wilson to throw. Got by one man, now going to run it. Gets to the sideline and is finally going to be tackled at the 31. It was J.R. Collins.
Okay, so now you're in it's like NC State gets to the 30-yard line and they go in reverse or can't make it happen. So now you're right back there on 3rd down. You need 8 or 10 yards, I think, before you feel real comfortable. And I don't think you can feel comfortable right now with your kicking game. He's 1 for his last 3, and we saw him chunk that. So to me, I think this has to be maybe a post route by one of the 3 receivers to the top.
Wilson steps up, drills it over the middle, has it, incomplete.
The skinny post. And that's Morgan, who makes a good break on the ball. And that's a penalty. That is, targeting a defenseless player at the shoulders or above, and that should have been called. This should be first down for NC State. And you're in that same spot, though. You can't. You're betwixt and between a field goal or a punt. You can't do either.
And NC State 1 of 2 on 4th down conversions. They're going to go for it. Mustafa Green in the lineup.
Charge timeout, NC State. That is their last charge timeout of the half. 30.
Well, it's a shame to see a young man have to come out of the game. You know, we're doing what we can, trying to make it a point of emphasis for targeting the defensive player, but that's textbook. You clip that off, you send that in, and you say, how is that not called? And
other scores in the ACC today. Miami wins over Clemson. That is a huge win on the road. Florida State wins big over Virginia. Duke, Maryland, that's to start later. East Carolina, North Carolina, 14 apiece first quarter. Georgia Tech, Wake Forest, 7 o'clock Eastern. And Notre Dame and Boston College, that's 8 o'clock Eastern time on the ABC.
So now you've got that 4th down on the 31-yard line, which would be right on the edge of career long for Josh Chakowski. And he's a little bit in his head, and kickers get like that sometimes. He's been so reliable over his career. But because they have to pick up 10 for the first, I would suspect that Bud Foster would call a blitz here so that those routes, you know, past 10 yards take a while to get open. So if you're thinking blitz, I think this is some type of screen or maybe a delayed draw because you've got to think the heat is coming.
Just if you get Mustafa Green in space, then the defense has got problems. See what they come up with. 4th down. Looking. Quick look in. Got it complete. Inside the 20-yard line is Jay Smith. That's enough for the first down. A gain of 16 yards.
Well, and this time you get a cover 2 with a deep safety and a corner. This corner is going to allow the release to the inside. That safety's got to be closer. He's just drifting way over to, I don't know what he was reading. He just completely misread.
11th play of the drive, pumped it once, now goes to the end zone, and incomplete. And the NC State fans wanted a flag, but the officials were right there and said absolutely not. Hosley with the cover.
Hosley, a young man that they're really, look at the skills on the ball there. There's no penalty there. He had the hand up there, but he did not turn him or any. That's just perfect coverage by Hosley.
So it's 2nd down. Clock shows 62 seconds left until halftime. Quick look in pass thrown a little bit behind the intended receiver, Jay Smith. And as he tried to turn and come back for it, he dropped the football. So now 3rd down.
So now Virginia Tech, if I'm...
Bud Foster looks on, trying to figure out what they might be thinking of. He and Dana Bible have had this situation quite a few times.
Well, and to me, I think this is a throw to the end zone. You're in the middle of the field, and you've got a receiver to the top, number 13, Owen Spencer. You might look to a fade.
13th play of the drive. Wilson throws it for the end zone and throws it too low, intercepted by Hosley. And he's going to bring it back out across the 5-yard line.
How about 2 weeks in a row for Hosley making an interception in the end zone last week? And this is very similar to what he did against Boston College.
He had a man wide open.
Yeah, he
when
did.
You look at it again, if he puts air under it, it's 6 points for NC State. But he didn't do that, and the Hokies come away with the football.
and he just completely lost track of Hosley. Hosley was dropping back. He had safety help over the top by Eddie Whitley. And it's exactly what he did last week against Boston College, reading the quarterback in zone coverage and coming off of his assignment to make the pick.
Evans is going to take this one out across the 15-yard line. Brandon Bishop made the stop defensively as a little conversation goes on between the two. And I'm sure Darren was saying, hey, you're from Boca Raton. Nice weather down there, huh? Timeout actually is called to stop the clock at 38.4.
And Russell Wilson has not looked as good as we saw on film against Georgia Tech so far. He came out and was firing the ball downfield. He started really hot, looked like he had good command. But I think the way Bud Foster calls defense, the second something's not working, he pulls out of it. He doesn't get hard-headed. They've had this system in place for so long here at Virginia Tech, and they started the game. They were blitzing on almost every down. They were getting there, and then he started playing some coverage. I don't think Russell Wilson expected coverage on that last play. I think he probably thought some pressure was coming. He didn't expect Hosley to be there, and when you're going up against arguably, I think, one of the top 2 or 3 defense coordinators in the entire country, it's a real fun cat and mouse game to watch that happen.
So time is back in, and Virginia Tech on offense. Bud Foster walking back toward the bench to talk to his defensive team, and a little word of congratulations. Second down and short. The running play, I believe, is going to pick up the first down. Darren Evans with the carry.
And I think with this field position, I'm not quite sure why Virginia Tech took that timeout. Well, you take it and maybe Evans busts for 20 or 30 yards, get you out to midfield. But I think Frank Beamer, the way his offense is played, is happy to be down 10. And even though this is a run-looking formation, I'd be surprised if they're going to throw the ball here. The only thing that really harms you is if you get a turnover down here.
Well, the chain gang had moved, and then they came back. Now,
wow.
They're going to call timeout and talk this over again.
Yeah, come on, let's figure this out. I'm not quite sure what the issue could be. It's a running play. It was close to whether it was a first down or not, but you spot it, and let's move on. Virginia Tech, if they are going to try to get something going, now you've put the brakes on. This starts to get a little unfair for the competitors on the field.
Clock running. Started with the ready, so it's 17 seconds. Tyrod Taylor gets it away, and I'm not sure Cole, well, he caught it. Now this one will probably be reviewed because it is very close as to whether he was in bounds or not. Snap that thing quickly, young man.
No, doesn't look like a catch.
Well, if they get no. So now another stoppage.
Further review.
Well, and this is a big review. I mean, you get out to the 32. I know you only have 11 seconds left, but that's 2, maybe 3 plays. And who's to say Taylor can't hit something that gets him out midfield or beyond, and then he gets to throw one into the end zone. So this is a big review, and I know the audience, both here in person and on TV, a little bummed out about how slow it's gotten. But you've got to review this because it can make a big difference in the outcome of the game.
So 11.1 seconds left. As still another question. All right, this is it one more time. And if you watch, the ball is there.
Now,
after further review, the ruling on the field stands.
Which means, and look, the boos are coming. What that means is they
don't have
see it.
That's right.
Right. So if you can't see
and
it.
that to me is what's wrong with replay. because if they blew it, but we don't have a better angle, then they're not going to change it for the guys on the field. That's wrong. Taylor still on his feet at the 40, now the 45-yard line, and it should be enough for the first down.
Yeah, and they got to get a timeout here with 1 second, and it's exactly what we were just saying, that because that play stands, and again, they can't see it, so they're not going to overturn it on the field because of not having a different shot of that. So now you've put yourself in position with 1 second to roll Taylor out and get Boykin, Cole, get these guys down the field. And Tyrod Taylor was very close to getting tackled short of the first down, and I'm not sure he would have been able to stop it. Almost lost it there, but I'm not sure if he wouldn't have gotten. And really heads-up play, though. As soon as he got the first down, get down so that we do have this 1 second left.
So which of their Hail Marys will they elect to go with here? We got 1.4 seconds showing on the clock. It is 17-7. North Carolina State on top. And the Hokies are out of the huddle, and they've got 3 wide receivers to the top of your screen, out to the left, and 1 to the bottom of your screen. Wolfpack will rush 4. Still looking deep over the middle, and it is knocked away. Brandon Bishop was the man who finally got over there to it, and we are at halftime. 144 for the Hokies, and we'll review those plus the individual defensive stars in the first half. Here's the kick return, 30, 35, 40. Wilson up the sideline. Can he go the distance? Yes. At the 10, at the 5, it is touchdown Hokies. What a way to open the second half. 92 yards on the kick return by David Wilson. And all of a sudden, a 10-point lead with the extra point attempt can dissolve to 3.
Well, this is more like it for Hokie fans. But watch the kicker, number 36, Chakowski. He actually cuts off the trail man, Gary Grant, who looked like he was going to make the tackle. But Chakowski went over there to try to make it and cut off his own guy. And I think that's how Wilson got the final step to get the whole distance.
Paisley with the extra point attempt, and that is no good.
It is not good.
Wild to the left. Let's run back to those stats very quickly, since we got a chance for everybody to catch their breath. For Frank Steen to miss an extra point, that is indeed surprising. You look at the rushing yardage, Virginia Tech, and that one run by Tyrod Taylor was over 60 yards, even when they brought it back where he stepped out of bounds a little bit. But the offensive plays, this also caught my attention, 48-33. The defensive leaders look just like this. Davon Morgan, 7 tackles, 1 pass breakup. And Hosley, 3 tackles, 2 interceptions. Nate Irvin, yep, he's back. 7 tackles, 1 sack. And Brandon Bishop, 2 tackles, 1 interception for him.
Nate Irving, horrific car crash back in 2009. He's looks a little upset that he didn't get to go out on the field on that defensive side. And there's a look at Hosley, who is really, he's starting to become, they've had so many great cornerbacks here at Virginia Tech. He's starting to have that feel about him, isn't he?
Yeah, for sure. Brandon Flowers, what he is from that same high school, Delray Beach, Florida. Justin Meyer prepares to kick it off, and Graham is the deep guy, and Graham is capable of doing what happened just a moment ago. Going to be taken on the run at the 10-yard line. At the 30, and steps out of bounds just shy of the 35. You see, it's Dean Haynes who said, I'll put my shoe on in a moment. I'm going to go on the field right now and see if I can carry the football.
You see Glennon right there. That's Mike Glennon, the backup quarterback, brother of Sean, who was quarterback at Virginia Tech. Mike got a lot of reps for Tom O'Brien because Russell Wilson was playing baseball all spring and summer. Glennon ran the first unit through spring ball and summer 7-on-7s.
And the handoff goes straight ahead. Antoine Hopkins is the man who made the tackle, number 56. And by half, here's what Virginia Tech has allowed, second half adjustments.
And that's what you expect. You know, Bud Foster has been here for 24 years. As Frank Beamer took over this defense in 1995. But we talked about him as one of the best in the business. They've only, coming in this game, had only given up 3 points in 6 quarters.
Over the middle, got a man, and he has a step. And it's Jarvis Williams, caught it on the run, and he's out to the 49-yard line. It is a gain of 15. When you hit a stationary receiver, that's one thing. But when you can hit a guy at a dead run in stride, far more difficult on the defense. See if they're out of position to make the adjustment.
Well, I think one of the most overrated things said about a quarterback is, oh, he's got a strong arm. You know, yeah, you've got to be able to get the ball there, but timing and accuracy, to me, jump off the charts. And Russell Wilson, when he's in a rhythm, as good as there is in the country.
Well, false start called against the Wolfpack, so they'll take a walk back. It'll be first down at 15. They'll scrimmage from their own 44.
And this offensive line still trying to find its way. They lost Mikael Overgaard at left tackle with an elbow, so Jake Vermiglio had to come in his stead. They struggled last week in the first half with blitzes. We saw them struggle in the first half against blitzes, and a shot at Don Horton, the offensive line coach, working with them, drawing things up. But if they start coming along, this offense start mixing in some power run, picking up those blitzes, this offense could get scary down the stretch.
Wilson. Tripped up, and that is Bruce Taylor, number 51.
Well, Bruce Taylor is just an absolute shining star right now for Bud Foster and his group on defense. Really good size, 6'2", almost 250 pounds. He is a very good blitzer. He has a good feel for it. He has a good feel for running downhill in the run game, and there you saw good speed in the open field, because if Wilson cuts the corner, he probably picks up 7 or 8 yards.
Well, Rivers actually is out, and Taylor in there replacing him, and he's done more than a respectable job as another flag comes in, and they're pointing at the right tackle.
79 of the offense. 5-yard penalty. Still second down.
It's R.J. Mattis. Anyway, the one more thing on Bruce Taylor, he's got 4 tackles on the afternoon in this ball game as R.J. is called for the movement. He's out of Concord, North Carolina. And if the name is familiar, his father is the line coach at Virginia. In fact, his dad played at UVA and then went on to play in the National Football League. But he became a starter as a freshman, had to endure a knee injury, and has finally gotten over that, and they're expecting big things out of Mattis. Great job on the fake and the ball thrown, and boy, what a defensive play by Hosley. I mean, everything was done right. He glued the defensive end with the fake, got outside and delivered the pass properly, and the ball knocked away at the last moment.
This young man can cover. Watch as the receiver breaks to the outside, comes back, goes back to the inside. Stephen Howard, Hosley was on him the entire time, even when the quarterback started to scramble. You're looking at a guy who's going to be a superstar for the Hokies.
3 tackles, 3 pass breakups, and 2 interceptions. That is a fair evening, and we still got 12 to play in the third quarter. Third down, they need the 41-yard line. Lofts the pass, has a man there, and Hosley will make the tackle at the 35-yard line. And that is more than enough for the first down by Jarvis Williams.
You know, when we were talking to Bud Foster about Russell Wilson, he paid him, I think, one of the highest compliments you can. He said he reminds me of Donovan McNabb in that he's a good enough athlete to run around and make plays, but usually when he runs, that he can make plays down the field. Of course, all those years in the Big East, Virginia Tech got a good look at McNabb.
Wilson looking for the end zone. Man is there. Caught for a touchdown, Jarvis Williams.
Well, this one is going to keep. Virginia Tech is going to kick itself. They had double coverage. They had Morgan to the inside. They had Hosley to the outside. And they both go. You know, they're peeking back. At some point, excuse me, that is not Hosley. That's Carmichael that time on that side of corner. But
here we go.
After further review, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
So it's Tchaikovsky now to attempt the extra point. He got it. So with 11:41 left in the third quarter, the new score, NC State 24. And I tell you, North Carolina State comes back with an impressive adjustment of their own. This is Roberts, and he is gang tackled just before the 20-yard line. Robert Flores in New York. Let's check back with you. So we are back at Raleigh, 24-13. Darren Evans, the tailback for the Hokies. Tyrod Taylor pulled that one down and now is under heavy duress and is just going to have to run out of bounds, and it's Audie Cole who will force him out. It was Michael Lemon who was applying the original pressure and got him out of the pocket.
Boy, has this defense come a long way from last year. Mike Archer, when we were visiting with him yesterday, they had to play so many young guys, and they're still young, freshman, sophomore. But it was the second half of the North Carolina game last year where he challenged him, said, you're no longer freshmen, let's see what you can do. They made some key stops. They got a great win, and they've been building on that through the offseason and right into the fall.
Second down, it's Evans, hurdles the man, has a hole, cuts it outside at the 30, and now out to the 37-yard line, and that's Nate Irvin who will make the stop, but not before a gain of 21 yards.
Well, you get the feeling Virginia Tech really needed that run. Darren Evans, who's going to be playing a lot more with David Wilson. Ryan Williams, in talking yesterday to the coaches, said that hamstring's not coming along as fast as they thought it would. He went out for a little bit of practice this week, but was not even close to ready to go. But Evans starting to get a feel a little bit.
By the way, Andre Smith, the tight end, with a really good block in the play to help get his running back out in the open. That pass thrown complete to Evans. Speaking of that running back, going to be a pickup of about 4.5. Well, Manning on the stop.
Nice job that time by Tyrod Taylor. Vertical routes all to the outside. They were all covered. All three receivers that were out were covered. Good protection. Came down to Evans. Get a positive 5-yard gain on first down.
Younger at fullback opens the hold almost enough for the first down. Well, here's a comparison of the quarterbacks and the numbers that they have so far. Tyrod Taylor, 8 of 17, 48 yards. 1 touch, 1 interception. And for Wilson, 13 of 32, 258. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Yards rushing, Taylor, 83-23 for Wilson. Third down, needs to pick up a couple. Got penetration, he took it to the outside and he's loose. Evans down the near sideline, gets by the tackler and he will score. 54 yards on the run, and it's C.J. Wilson who had a shot and missed him. Well, I'd say both coaches at halftime made some really good adjustments. And
well,
we've seen some great individual efforts also.
And this is the exact play they had run before, where the right guard is going to pull around James Brooks and gets a hook block on the end of the line to scrimmage on the safety Earl Wolf. And that, you got to make a better effort than that. You can't just dive at the guy's legs. Good finish by Evans, but that was all set up by a wonderful hook block by the right guard Brooks.
Going for a two-point conversion because of that missed extra point. Taylor looking to run. Now dumps it off, and wide open is Cole. So they get the 2 points, and it erases that missed extra point just a time ago. 3-point ball game. We'll be right back. Tech. This is returnable. High spinner. Gonna come down at the 3. Graham. Collided with his own man, and that's the end of the road. Gonna be pushed back from there. So a brand new ball game, 24-21. NC State's lead is cut down to 3. Take a look at the 2-point conversion.
Watch the 4 red jerseys as they all go with Roberts and the other receiver that was running the other way, Marcus Davis, and oops, forgot one.
But I heard him say, was it my deodorant? Or lack of?
A good job by Tyrod Taylor. Nothing open early, stepped up into the pocket and then came out. How often do you see when you bounce out and you give up a sack or something like that?
Straight ahead. Green loses the ball, and it's recovered by NC State. They were very, very fortunate.
No, that was it. Nice job by Eddie Whitley to finish the play. Boy, what a nice job by the right guard, Zach Allen. He gets up on the linebacker, Bruce Taylor. And that's a nice hatchet by Eddie Whitley.
Well, that's 2 times now that we have talked about Zach Allen being the road grader, if you will. Opening a big hole, and Green just flies right through. They have a first down at the Rome 42-yard line. They'll try him again. Nothing doing this time. It's Anton Hopkins who comes in to make the initial contact on him.
You know, you were talking about the Hopkins brothers.
Yeah.
Derek Hopkins, who's the younger brother, has been very good for Anton because Derek has such a motor, and Anton has good skills, whatever. Can't occasionally not go full tilt, and Derek kind of pushes him a little bit, pushes his older brother. It's usually the other way around.
Quick pass in the flat. Green. That's Hosley who makes the tackle, and I'll tell you, Hosley may have gotten a little bit fortunate because he hit him, but he didn't lock his arms. And I'll tell you, if number 33 gets loose right there, there are not many folks who are going to catch Mustafa Green.
Derek Hopkins over there on the sideline. Now you've got 3rd and long. 3 down linemen for Virginia Tech. This is that 30 look that Bud Foster has started using a lot more the last couple of ball games. But I would suspect pressure is going to come. They're going to at least rush 5, I think. I think you got to get it. No.
Stepping up over the middle. Has it complete. Guess who? Owen Spencer. These are money guys. I mean, when they want somebody who's going to get open, who's going to get high enough, open enough, it's going to be number 13. 29 yards on that play. Can we total up how many yards he has? He had 115 at halftime. As NC State gets in a hurry back to the line, 143 yards for Owen Spencer. That's an incredible number. Swing it out, and they got it to Haynes. And Haynes will run out of bounds at around the 18 by Gibson.
This offense is amazing. They don't flinch at all. Virginia Tech comes into the second half. They get a kickoff return. They get a long run for a touchdown. Cut it to 4 because they missed the extra point. Then they cut it to 3. And here they come right back, get a big 3rd down conversion to Spencer, who ran a wonderful route. And they're right back in business near the goal line.
Russell Wilson with the 2nd down and short. Running play, and Haynes, I believe, is going to have the first down. Tackled by John Graves. John Graves, we talked about him off the top of the telecast as being the lunch pail guy. Okay, upon graduation, he wants to go to work for the FBI after his graduation. That's one of the things that he has set his sights on. And he's certainly in the right part of the country to
Quantico's not too
yeah,
far
to
up the road.
have a good idea of what he wants to do and why. Haynes stays in the ball game at tailback, and it's Wilson throwing over the middle, and the ball almost intercepted. And I'll tell you, now you talk about a pass he's going to want back. Wilson is going to look at this replay, and George Bryan, the tight end, had just been forgotten almost as badly as the play we saw just a couple of moments ago where Danny Cole was so wide open.
Yep, and he misread that because he thought that Exum was going to go with Bryan, the safety, but he stood his ground and almost forced another ball in there that would have been an interception.
Second down and 10, nothing there. Then that's Hopkins, the older brother, making the stop against Dean Haynes.
Well, that was just a lazy block by the right guard, Zach Allen. He just dove at the feet of Hopkins, and Hopkins did a really good job of stepping over him, not being cut block and making the tackle in the backfield.
Ninth play of the drive coming up. It is third down. And to keep it alive, they're going to take it to the 6-yard line. Mustafa Green in the game at tailback. And they look to throw the ball right over the middle. This is to Owen Spencer. And he had a couple of folks keeping a close eye on him. Rashad Carmichael, one of those. And now it's going to be a fourth down situation.
Well, and that was a good call by Bud Foster. He brought a corner, and because he was getting there so fast, Russell Wilson could not wait, and he had deeper routes that weren't just straight verticals. They had to make double moves. So that time he has to dump it off to the hot read, and they're not able to convert.
Well, Tchaikovsky missed a couple last week. This is going to be a 32-yard attempt. And he got this one. So let's take a timeout. New score, North Carolina State 27-21. And it's going to come down to the 6. This is Roberts. Well, tonight at ABC, the top two teams in the Pac-10 battle is quarterback sensation Andrew Luck leads the 9th-ranked Stanford Cardinal against number 4 Oregon. Saturday Night Football presented by Southwest Airlines, part of Tailgate Week. Fired up by Kingsford Charcoal on ABC at ESPN at 8 o'clock Eastern Time. Zings this one out and has it complete. And that's Darrell Roberts, the junior out of Smithfield, Virginia.
Good throw by Tyrod Taylor.
18 yards on it.
Got it out with some velocity, had some protection. This offensive line that's had its struggles, starting to look like they're making some progress.
It's interesting that he had a defender in front of him who slowed down his penetration, and that is the respect for Tyrod Taylor's running ability. Wilson, and he's going to be stopped after a gain of 4.
Nice positive yardage game. You know, first down, 4 yards. You're running the ball. You know, with a guy with the speed of Wilson, like we saw on that kickoff return, you think you may be able to bounce it, but he'll take 4 yards on a good power inside zone play anytime. Sometimes you think those speed guys, they want to bounce everything to the outside and try to turn the corner, but he just stuck it up in there.
Under 4 minutes to play, third quarter. NC State 27-21. And the Hokies back on offense. Blitz coming off the left side. Pass over the middle and just a little too tall. Boykin, the intended receiver.
But again, good protection. They brought the blitz.
Flag down on this side of the field. Almost obscured from us.
Ineligible player downfield. Number 88 was covered. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
And obviously, most of you understand what he means when he says covered. Andre Smith, yes, is a tight end. But if he is at the line of scrimmage and there is someone further to his outside at the line of scrimmage, then all of a sudden he's ineligible. That is the first penalty against Virginia Tech in this entire ball game. Steps up nicely at the rush. Gets by another and then is tripped up. Manning is the man who finally got him. Augustin is the man who was applying the pressure. 4 times that they've gotten to Tyrod this afternoon.
And Augustin got away with one there. I think he may have been in the neutral zone before the snap. Guessed on the snap count, got it right. And I think may have caught a little break there.
Third down. They want to keep it going. They got to go across midfield down to the North Carolina State 47-yard line. State leads it by 6, 27-21. Blitz off the top side and the bottom. Runs out of harm's way. And is going to turn the corner. 45 at the 50 and gets out of bounds short of the first down. But had he taken another stride, we'd have the medical staff sprinting across the field right now because he was about to be tattooed in big time. He did the wise thing.
Looked like they were going to get him down much earlier than that, but of course Taylor gifted with good speed. It's a 5-man rush. Taylor has to bail out because there was a missed cut block. You know, we've seen a couple of guys today kind of just fall on their bellies. You've got to stay a little higher when you're going for the cut block. Otherwise, the defense just uses their hand, push you to the ground.
Sanders standing back to punt. Gets a foot into it, very high. Gonna have to get a gunner down there, or this is gonna go into the end zone. And what he did, absolutely legal. Caught in midair by one of the gunners. It is a downed football at the 4-yard line. 45 yards on the kick. And that is Zach Luckett, who got downfield on the special teams, and he will get a star come Monday. Now, speaking of Monday Night Football continues with the battle between the AFC East rivals as Brady and company and the Patriots roll into Miami to face the Dolphins. Patriots against the Dolphins, 8:30 Eastern time, and coverage will begin at 7 Eastern with Monday Night Countdown. That, of course, is served by Applebee's.
So far in the second half, a little more hokey type of special teams. Kick return for the touchdown, downing the ball inside the 5.
Wilson running for his life and does the wise thing and just throws it away. And it was Gale, James Gale, who was applying pressure. Gale, one of several young players that Bud Foster talked about that, you know, they got a real good upside. And he is a youngster who's a redshirt freshman out of Hampton, Virginia. And they've got several guys like that. J.R. Collins on the other side. That's exactly right.
Well, you look at this defense. All their linebackers are sophomores. You mentioned the freshmen up front. We've been talking about Derek Hopkins. They're going to take their lumps, but they're going to come out the other side pretty darn good.
Going to throw long. There's double coverage down there. And that's a flag. And I'll tell you, that is going to be offensive pass interference, I think. I think that Jarvis Williams put an elbow out.
Well, he sure
did. I may be totally wrong.
Yeah, if they call this defense, I think it's a missed call.
Pass interference. Number 21 of the defense.
Boy.
15 yards to the previous spot.
Well, I apologize. I apologize. And you see Frank laughing.
Well, he
wants
uncatchable. Yeah, which he's probably right. But watch the left arm of Williams. They allow that hand play, but he just shoves Carmichael down.
Shoves him down.
Yeah, it's either a no call, or an uncatchable. But
well, what you got to really
caught a break
be careful of in most leagues, the jawing that happened afterwards would be a 15-yard unsportsmanlike.
Yeah. I think NC State caught a break there. That arm play they usually let go, but Jarvis Williams clearly pushing Carmichael down.
And Not much there for Haynes. Davon Morgan, who's had a truly outstanding game again today. We talked about in the first half what a devastating loss it was when he went down on September the 27th last year and had to have knee surgery. And he is back, and he not only occupies a lot of space, but as a 3-year starter, he brings so much education to all those younger players. 9th tackle for him this afternoon.
And they've already defended 65 plays in 3 quarters. So they've got to start getting worn out a little bit.
Russell Wilson dumps it off, and he threw it a little bit short. Haynes was the man that he wanted. So it stops the clock, 1:15 to play, 3rd quarter. Really big game in the Atlantic Coast Conference for both of these teams who would like to pick up their 2nd conference win.
Now for Virginia Tech, NC State loves post routes. So the receiver runs straight and then cuts towards the middle. The safeties have to be aware of that and be ready to cut underneath of it.
We'll see what they come up with. 3rd down and 9. Pressure. Flag is down, and he throws long up the far sideline and in and out of the hands of Jarvis Williams. Exum with the defense on the play. Anton Exum, redshirt freshman from Glen Allen, Virginia.
Illegal formation against the offense. 5 men in the backfield. Penalties decline. 4th down.
Tom O'Brien, one of his traits, it's always been this way. When he was at BC, the same way. Not a screamer. Now, when you do see him really getting vociferous with an official, 9 times out of 10, he's exactly right. But he's one that he doesn't waste his energy on that because the call has been made. He knows there's nothing they can do about it. So he walks away, and Lepler will come out to do the punting. Last punt was 56 yards. High pass from center, so he just line drives it. And a chance to return, and it's picked up and then lost at the 40. Husley will go down as soon as he caught it.
You know, for Nate Irving, just a horrific crash back in June of 2009. And when you see this photo of the car that he was driving, and that's the driver's seat. You can see where a tree slammed it here, but he fell asleep at the wheel. He's driving back to school for summer classes to start. Missed the entire season, but you see that and you can't, it's hard to believe the young man's alive.
You see a collapsed lung, broken ribs, separated shoulder, and a compound fracture of his left leg. And he told us yesterday, yes, he still has that pin in his left leg. As Evans tries to turn the corner and turns it up for about 6 yards. Nice running play.
Well, and Nate Irving got cut blocked on that, which is legal. Offensive player comes out and you're allowed to go to them, but he was slow to get up as he's flowing towards the ball. Left guard Craig Nosal that comes out and completely legal, good block, but he was a little slow getting up after that.
Looking, throws it, has it complete. Inside the 45 and down to the 38-yard line.
I like this call. Earlier in the game, it seemed like Virginia Tech was not doing anything towards the middle of the field, but this time they bring DJ Coles, a big target at 6'3", 225 pounds on a shallow drag right in front of the quarterback, and it's open. It's so hard to cover that. The receiver doesn't even have to be that fast, but when he's running that far and you've got a trailer on it, well, very difficult to cover.
We're about to go to the 4th quarter, and a very gutsy call on a 4th down play by that man right there. Is it going to pay off? We'll tell you in just a moment.
Well, special teams and an interception always a big help, aren't they?
Yep. Running play here. Big opening. near sideline 25 to the 22 is Evans. And they not only will move the sticks, now they have got themselves in a position with an 18-yard gain. As we take a look at the stats that we were just talking about, 320 yards for the Hokies, 437 for NC State. 300 of those by way of air. Tom O'Brien looking on right now. Mo leaning a little bit toward the other side. From the 20, they fake the end around and they take it straight up the middle with a running play, and Darren Evans is going to have a gain of 5.5 yards.
A good finish that time by the left tackle, Andrew Lanier. As Evans went to cut back, Lanier just stayed absolutely glued to his block. Otherwise, if he'd have just given up for a half a second, just a beat, I think that'd have been about a no gain or maybe even a 1 yard loss.
You know, to me, he's a really good story. He was a tight end. And because Becton had the turf toe, which he got stepped on again last week, this young man's having to play that position and doing well. Then this play right here, NC State stuffs at the line of scrimmage. Got to be a third down, and they'll need about 6 yards for the first.
Well, they have seen this play a lot where the guard wraps around trying to get a block, and that time Audie Cole, the outside linebacker, watch the right guard. He's going to pull Brooks, and Cole dives to his inside. That's called wrong arming it, where you take the through. Big third down here, although you're in 4-down territory.
They are 2 of 9 on third down conversion. David Wilson into the backfield at tailback for the Hokies. And they send him out in the pass route. Looking, gonna run it. Tyrod Taylor up the middle. Oh, what a move at the 10. Turns it back to the sideline. Knocked out of bounds. He will have the first down. It'll be 1st and goal from the 6-yard line.
So close to getting themselves in huge trouble. If he takes this sack, I think you've got to kick that field goal. And to me, this feels like if you don't score a touchdown, you get the sense NC State's going to come out and do something offensively. But that was a nice job by David Wilson, the freshman down the field, getting a little extra block.
Quickly to the line of scrimmage. Taylor gets the snap, hands it off, and the back trying to sweep the corner. He is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. Maybe a half-yard gain on the play. Earl Wolf tackling David Wilson.
Well, and this is where Virginia Tech, not to sound like a broken record, has not been very good this year. Inside the 10-yard line. They get a little hard-headed, I think, with the run game, packing everybody in. With Tyrod Taylor and the way he runs, move him. Get him away from the line of scrimmage. Maybe even a quarterback draw here with an empty backfield.
On 2nd down, Taylor looking, has a man over the middle, and he finds him. Touchdown, Andre Smith.
He's lined up as an eligible. This is a great formation. He's lined up, it looks like a tackle, but he's actually an eligible receiver. And Terrell Manning, the linebacker to that side, I think was completely caught off guard.
They look like it. Hazley to attempt the extra point. Now, he missed one earlier, taking a little extra time to look this one over, and this one he knocks right down the middle.
And that was a completely legal formation.
Here's the kick by Meyer. And it's going to go out the back of the end zone, so the 20-yard line. Now show us with the telestrator.
So you've got Lanier here. He is on the line of scrimmage. So you think that's a left tackle when you look at it. But because these two guys are off the ball,
that's right,
he's an eligible receiver. So you've got your 5 linemen on the line of scrimmage, completely legal formation. The guy to the inside of Lanier was off the ball. It's just like a guy being in the backfield.
Yep.
So a really nice play. And Lanier getting smiles, and all he had to do was go stand in the right place. Let's give credit to Brian Steinspring and the offensive staff for coming up with a really neat formation.
Play action. Wilson going to reverse it out. Gets, oh, what a block does he get just behind the play. And it's George Bryan who came back to make the block. I think on Drager, wasn't it?
Now, and
yes, right
field
there.
block. Yep. And this is a huge drive for NC State. You said on the last drive that it felt like Old Mo had really switched over Virginia Tech.
Or was about to.
Yeah.
But I think this one right here is really big for Coach O'Brien's ball club, just to get their swagger back and their confidence, because right now the swagger is with the Hokies. Running play, nothing. Absolutely nothing. Mustafa Green hit by Stephen Friday, and now it is going to be a third down, and let's see where they're going to spot it. They say he lost 1.5 yards on the play, so it's going to be a 3rd down and 3.
Now you love it when your 5th-year guys step up and play big, and that's exactly what Stephen Friday has done for Frank Beamer. And I think 3rd and 3, I would not risk a run between tackles. They're going to spread it out a little bit.
They're 5 of 15, Ed, on 3rd down conversions. Play action. They dump the ball off and they get it to Green. He breaks a tackle, breaks another, and because of that, he'll have the 1st down. Mustafa Green. They're not booing, it's for a move.
Remember that touchdown to Haynes earlier in the game? Exact same play. You fake the ball to Green just like they did to Haynes, and Russell Wilson comes in the same way. Morgan has to finish his rush, and then the linebacker that has coverage, Gibson, is late coming over, and Mustafa Green makes 2 Hokies look a little foolish there in the open field.
What an athletic run right there. Great individual effort. 1st down at their own 41-yard line. Wilson going to go down quickly. He'll have a gain of 1, and that's it. Graves is there to put a stop to that one.
Nothing there. Good play. You don't want to force at this point in the game, this tight. He's had a couple of forces Russell Wilson has that resulted in turnovers. So this time you got to focus in, take care of the ball. But they have complete trust. Dana Bible, the offensive coordinator and quarterback coach, works with him every day.
Taylor Gentry in the ball game at tailback, and you know he's not going to run the football. Now they may throw it to him. Out in the flat this time, and a little bit too far. It is going to be 3rd down. And I was talking about the importance of this game to the 2 teams, and here's the reason why. Different divisions, both in conference play. Forget the number on the right. Has nothing to do with the ACC. NC State 1-0, Virginia Tech 1-0. Somebody's going to leave here at 2-0 and in much better shape.
Yep, and NC State was picked to finish 4th.
And you know,
in
actually,
the Atlantic Division. So.
Miami, I may be wrong, but they should be 2-0 now, shouldn't they? Because they won today. They beat Clemson up at Clemson.
I believe that was their first conference.
Oh, okay. Going to put it way in the air. Wrestling for the ball. Did he catch it? Owen Spencer. He's already caught 3 of those way downfield on alley-oop kind of passes.
Yeah, I think this is going to be offensive pass interference. Spencer.
Exum is the man who was defending.
Yeah, he just ripped Exum by him to go try to catch the ball.
Pass interference, number 1 of the defense. Wow. 15-yard penalty at the previous spot. Automatic 1st down.
Take a look.
Look out on the field at the 45-yard line.
No, that's the right call. The offensive player was trying to come back.
He didn't catch the ball, though, no.
Yeah, but Exum had that left arm up. It looked to me like Spencer had thrown him by, but that wasn't really the case. He just was leaning against him, so that was the correct call.
Yeah, Bud Foster was not real pleased. He was out on the field.
Well, when you saw it in fast motion, it looked like Spencer threw him down, but on the replay, it was more Exum's momentum that took him that way.
And here's Mustafa Green, nothing. Nice defense, stepping up quickly as Hopkins. Antoine Hopkins.
They needed Hopkins to step up when they lost Quamaine Battle to an ACL. So they lost some depth inside, of course, and they needed Hopkins really to step up. And short, stout guy, very powerful. We saw him earlier, good athletic skills where he stepped over a cut block.
Throwing over the middle, ball in and out of the hands of the receiver, and that's because the hit was timed perfectly by Hosley. Against Jarvis Williams, it was a pretty good collision. Looks like Hosley may have partially had the wind knocked out of him.
You know, you're in that area again where if you pick up 6 or 7 yards, you're probably going to go for it on 4th down. We've seen them do that time and time again. So if you're Wilson, don't be afraid to come down. You know, you're going to have 2 or 3 routes beyond the sticks, but if there's some pressure, don't be afraid to come down, pick up 7 or 8, because your coach may let you go for it on 4th.
3rd down, they need to take it to the 33-yard line. Pressure coming up the middle, gets by 1. Now he just throws it away. And that was Gibson again who was applying the pressure.
Well, and this is where Bud Foster keeps you on your heels. Remember, a couple times earlier in the game when we saw 3rd and long, we saw coverage. That time, almost an all-out blitz. He brought Gibson, who got free. Just does a wonderful job of changing up his calls so you can't start getting into a rhythm and expect, okay, on the last 3rd and long, they didn't come.
You see, Bud was about to substitute, and Frank reached his arm out and said, no, not now.
Yeah,
too late. Got to get us a penalty here. We don't need that. Here's the punt. Fair catch is signaled for and made at around the 12-yard line. So let's take a timeout. 28-27, Virginia Tech. The preparation of that burger. David Wilson in the backfield for Virginia Tech. They have a 1-point lead. Here's Wilson. Nothing doing. That is Augustin, the redshirt senior out of Oakland Park, Florida. Time right now to take a look at our Pacific Life game summary.
Well, a game that started to look like it might get a little out of hand. Russell Wilson was playing at a high level in that first quarter. There finds his tight end Brian, but Virginia Tech clawed back a kickoff return for a touchdown, and that one on a wonderful design play to the tight end who was lined up what looked like as a tackle.
Going to go long up the far sideline, and diving for the ball is Danny Cole. Can't get it.
Well, you put yourself in 3rd and long there. You know, I don't mind making the throw. Cole had a step on Emerson. Ball thrown a little to the outside, but now here comes this crowd finally, I think, for Virginia Tech. I don't think you want him in the pocket. I think you want to move him or some type of draw or screen.
I think him getting out of the pocket is part of the equation of picking up a first down, probably. Darren Evans is the man in the backfield with him. Tyrod Taylor looking, gets it out to Evans, and Evans dropped the football. It was well defended by the Wolfpack. Out there was number 56, Nate Irvin. Slade was there as well.
But you go back to that throw to Cole. Again, I get it. You want to try to get one down the field, but you're backed up. It's 2nd down. You know, you want to move the chains. You're up 1, 8-19. Let's get a nice drive. Let's start melting this clock a little bit. And now pinned back. You've got to figure NC State's getting it back with pretty good field position.
Brian Sanders stands by to punt. And the return is on for NC State. Line drive kick. Very returnable. Graham. Flag is down as he gets to the sideline and then steps out. Back, 2 flags are down at the 50-yard line.
Now you're going to get an illegal block in the back, so you figure 10 yards from the spot. Still going to be decent field position. Figure about their own 40.
Trying to return, blocking the back against the receiving team. 10 yards to the spot of the foul. First down.
So let's take a timeout. 1-point lead, Virginia Tech. Until just minutes ago when Virginia Tech put together the drive, and now they're trying to get it back. This is Haynes. out of the backfield, inside the 40, and they will tackle him finally at the 38-yard line. That's a gain of 23 yards on the play.
And this is the first time Virginia Tech has seen that play all day. A true naked bootleg with play action to the left, back over to the right, and a very accurate throw by the quarterback. Hit his running back right on the move for a big gain.
On first down, they go with the running play, not much. Davon Morgan up very quickly from that safety position to make the hit.
Now, if you're Virginia Tech, you've got to start watching this clock closely. Because if they get down, if NC State gets down into field goal territory, you've got to start thinking if that clock is melting away, how much time we want to leave. You'd like to keep a timeout or two in your hip pocket, but you've got to start thinking as that thing melts down, we might need to save some for our offense to go back on the field.
Well, second down and 10. See the Hokie fans who are down from Blacksburg looking on. Single coverage right here, and the ball is almost intercepted. And now a flag comes in. Owen Spencer, the intended receiver, and let's see who they caught it on. Exum was the defender.
Pass interference, number 1 of the defense. 15 yards to previous spot, automatic first down.
Ball underthrown a little bit by Russell Wilson on purpose. Here's the very tail end of the play. You know, I'm not seeing much there. You know, this part of the game, those guys are both putting their arms up. I think you go with a no call on that one, and that's
Andrew.
Yeah, left guard.
Andrew Wallace, the left guard, is the man who's down.
But I just think you let that one go. I'm just not sure you make that call at this point in the game.
ABC's new drama, Detroit 187. Great cops made in Detroit. And when it's your hometown, everything is personal. Detroit 187 on ABC Tuesday at 10, 9 o'clock Central Time.
You know, we saw that a bunch on film against Georgia Tech and a couple of other games. Russell Wilson does that a lot. He's got a vertical route, and he underthrows it to allow his receivers, who are obviously catching the ball in flight faster than the defensive back, to fight back.
When you get man coverage, that is absolutely the best place to throw it. Because most of the times the defensive back is either peeking or has his back totally to the quarterback. First down from the 23. They'll keep it on the ground. Big opening, Haynes. 15, 10. A flag is down.
Yeah, they're going to get holding. I think they're going to get, they're going to get
Christofi?
Yeah, they're going to get him for holding. He just came in for Wallace, the left guard.
Holding.
Yeah.
62 of the offense.
And it was.
10 yards to the previous spot. Still first down.
Duran is working against Lindell Gibson. There he is right there. And watch as he gets up on the linebacker. Just absolutely hugs him. And so when Gibson tries to go off, that's the proper call. You know, as soon as those hands get outside, if you get them inside, you can grab cloth all day long, but you get it to the outside and they see that jersey move, they're going to call it.
First down after the penalty. New line of scrimmage is now the 33. Boy, here comes big pressure, going to be hit and knocked down, and that's Drager. Chris Drager, and that is a gigantic defensive play for the Hokies right there.
Well, for NC State now, you've got second and call it 20. You 6, 7, 8 yards you want to look at. That gets you into field goal range and then gets you into a third down that's manageable. So some type of slant, maybe run some vertical with a cross route underneath of it. You need 8, 9, 10 yards here, I think, for a manageable third and to get back into field goal position.
Russell Wilson tries to get outside, backside pressure. He just throws it away. And it's going to be a third down, and it's John Graves again with pressure.
Well, and this offensive line for NC State, they're not getting blitzed. They're getting pressure with 4 for Virginia Tech. So now you've got to expect they're going to play coverage again. You are not in field goal range. Tchaikovsky, his career best is 48 yards. You're just outside of that. You get a feeling that Tom O'Brien is not real comfortable from this spot. So 7, 8, 9 yards. Don't think first down here. Maybe a wide receiver screen. You've got to get something to get into Tchaikovsky's range.
28-27 our score. Virginia Tech. 5:31 left in the game. Third down. Looked in pass, got it, and then a chilling tackle by Whitley. Oh my goodness. Jay Smith did not go one breath further after that pass was caught and the hit was made. And now here comes number 36 on the field, Josh Tchaikovsky. Now, he hit his last, but in the first half, wow, he tried to overkick one because it had a little bit more length on it, and he really came across it badly.
Yeah, and this is a long one. You're 42 yards. You know, a guy who's in his head a little bit, missed 2 last week, may drive this ball. Virginia Tech's been getting penetration.
Well, let's see. It would put him on top. A 42-yard attempt. Kick is on the way. He got it. North Carolina State goes back on top. 30-28 over Virginia Tech. They've got 4:42 left. Tchaikovsky with the kick and returnable from the 10-yard line by Wilson. Wilson, good coverage by the Wolfpack. Going to be stopped this time at the 23. Oh, don't forget college football tonight. Stanford, number 9 against number 4 Oregon. It's presented by Southwest Airlines tonight, 8 o'clock Eastern Time on ABC or ESPN2. Four minutes and 35 seconds left in our game. And the Hokie hoping that his guys can get it going. Tyrod Taylor, and the ball incomplete.
Little bit of a misread there by Taylor. I know he wants to get that ball to the outside, but he had Danny Cole sitting over the middle for about 15 yards, standing with nobody around him. So now you get to 2nd and 10. Virginia Tech with 277 rushing yards. And here comes this crowd. I don't know how much you want to stand in the pocket right now, and I would think Mike Archer might be thinking about some pressure.
Smith in motion. And go with a running play. Evans turns the corner, has the first down, plus about 5 more yards. He'll take it to the 40. And in fact, let's count it off as a gain of 16. Nate Irving on the stop.
Well, not only a good job on the end of the line of scrimmage, but an excellent cut block by Danny Cole. He got out on his defensive back, and you know, I'm not so sure I would call another pass play unless it were some type of screen or something. Right now, the run game for Virginia Tech with Tyrod Taylor and Evans is cranking up.
Taylor, great protection. Now it breaks down. He's going to run it. Ran into his own man and got free. And he's going to wind up with a gain of 5 yards. Manning finally forced him out. How? Looked as though he was going to be caught twice.
He's pretty gifted when things break down.
Yeah, he's about as accomplished as they get when freedom is needed and God-given talent takes over. Yep, no question about that.
107 rushing yards, and many of those once he's had to scramble when the pocket breaks down.
Darren Evans, they try the left side. It's a nice job by the pursuit people, particularly linebacker Nate Irving, who was out there to make the initial contact. And you could almost feel that contact up here because now it's third down. Of course, it's 4-down territory wherever for the Hokies right now as the clock runs at 3:11 and 3:10 to play.
Remember that drag route on that 4th down before to DJ Coles? I think you run a shallow drag right in front of the quarterback.
Well, 3 wide receivers go to the right. Keep an eye on the big fella, number 88 on the left. Tight end Andre Smith. Quarterback draw. Tyrod Taylor going to have the first down. And he is just shy of the 40-yard line. That's going to be a gain of 9 as Dante Johnson makes the tackle. And I'll tell you what, Andre Smith, the tight end, had he turned around, nobody covered him. He went straight down the field on the pattern.
Yep, and they had Boykin crossing from right to left, but Taylor sees that huge hole, and even though the linebacker Cole came up, Taylor's just so gifted in the open field. If Cole makes that tackle, it's 4th down, I think they'd have gone for it anyway.
Quarterback keeper's got his big tight end blocking for him there, but this one's only going to go for a couple of yards. Clock runs 2:10, now 2:09.
And if you're NC State, now you have to start thinking. Hazley's 8 for his last 8. His career long's 45 yards last week against Boise State, or excuse me, Boston College. You're not quite there, but I think NC State needs to start getting worried about that clock melting away, because the way Virginia Tech's moving the ball, they're going to get down 20, 15-yard line and have a chip shot.
This is a season high for Virginia Tech in rushing yards this year at 314. Right now they got a 2nd down and 8. Ball just inside the NC State 40-yard line. Over the middle, got his man, breaks the tackle, that's Boykin. Boykin still on his feet, and he will score. 39 yards. For starters, it was an absolutely perfect pass. And then, folks, he broke not only 1, he broke 2 what looked like sure tackles and headed to the end zone.
Yeah. Here's Boykin right down here. He's going to run to the middle of the field. Boykin, a guy who had a huge game just a post, and then the safety gets over there, number 30, Brandon Bishop.
Now they're lining up for a 2-point conversion. And a timeout has been called. We have 1:27 left in the ball game.
You get to 6 with 2. 4 and 6. Not quite seeing the logic here. 6, yeah, they've got to make the extra point. Maybe you block it. Maybe that's what Frank is thinking here, but because you've already forced NC State to have to go down and score a touchdown. You're up 4.
Yeah. Think it over for a minute, and let me say a special hello, okay?
Yep.
Cheryl Beamer is back home watching this game at home, and I think that Shane, their son, who coaches at South Carolina, is off this weekend. I think Shane and his family are there with her. Cheryl had a horrible fall at their lake house during the summer, broke ribs and also a collarbone. She was carrying one of the grandkids and tried to protect the grandkids and exposed herself, and she really had a tough go of it. Cheryl, I know that just made you feel better right there, but anyway, I hope you're mending quickly, and we send you just our thoughts and hope things are going well. 2-point conversion is what it's going to be. They'll go from the shotgun formation. Gets the pass away and incomplete, looking for Coates. Cole was in the back of the end zone and could not get across as the pass was hurried, and I think somebody may have hit his arm on the play as well.
Yeah, and I think I get the logic here. So you 4, 5, and 6, you say they still need a touchdown to beat you, but you get to 6, you may block the extra point, keep it a tie. Also, if you get to 6, they score. If you have enough time, you go down and kick a field goal, you can win it. If it's 5 and they go for 2, they can make it 3. So I get the logic. I don't have a problem with going for 2 there. Not exactly on that chart, but I can see why Frank went for it.
Situation, 1:27 left in the ball game, a 4-point lead by Virginia Tech. Both teams are 1-0 in conference play. Frank Beamer, the longtime head coach of the Hokies, has been through these kind of wars before.
And a defensive guy by nature. He was a defensive back at Virginia Tech. And
Tommy O'Brien, long-time competitor and friend of his. I know there's a lot of respect by each coach for the other one.
Well, and you've got to think Beamer, with his background on defense, wishes the offense would have eaten just a little more clock. You'll never, ever give back that touchdown, but you'd rather it be 27 seconds than a minute 27 with this quarterback you're about to face.
What an effort by Boykin after the catch, though. I mean, that was above and beyond. Meyer prepares to kick it off. Keep an eye on T.J. Graham. And this one is not going to be, yes, it is going to be returnable. From 2 yards deep, he'll bring it out. Graham running for the sidelines, and what normally happens when you get one that deep at an angle, you pay for it by hardly getting back to the 10 or 15-yard line.
And now with a minute 19, 3 timeouts, needing a touchdown. The nice part for NC State, they've got all of those timeouts. You can work everything. Just remember, though, the clock is going to start to work against you once you start getting out towards midfield. If everyone's spread out and it's going to take 8, 10, 12 or more seconds to get everyone back and going, use the timeout. Do not wait and let time burn off, because the clock will go fast if you're underneath the sticks.
Mustafa Green is the man to keep an eye on, number 33 in the backfield. They get him out as a safety valve. Now looking deep over the middle, battling for it. It's intercepted by Virginia Tech. Back to the 40, the 30, to the 20-yard line, and down the sideline. Hosley finally going to be stopped before he gets it to the end zone, out of bounds at the 6-yard line.
Third interception for Hosley, and a poor decision by Russell Wilson. You just don't expect to see a guy, third-year starter. He was in the pocket. He thought about throwing it away. He watch as he starts to move around, and at the very last second, looks to go to throw this away, and instead he throws it up into the middle of the field. He's trying to find Darrell Davis, but you just can't hang that ball up there. Live to play another down. You've got all those timeouts. There's no reason to force that.
Well, Hosley being congratulated by Bud Foster, his defensive coordinator. And Bud saying to him, son, 3 interceptions, it's all good coaching. North Carolina State trying to get somebody on the field late. That's the reason the flag came in late, because that person had not gotten beyond the neutral zone coming on from the sideline. And Evans will be stopped inside the 5.
And the reason you run the ball here instead of take a knee, you were right on the edge of being able to run out the clock with 3 knees because of the 3 timeouts for NC State. So you run the ball so it eats more time per
Number
play.
1 of the defense. Half the distance to the goal. Still first down.
And that's the reason the man who did not get back on. And for Hosley, let me tell you this. That ties an all-time Virginia Tech record for interceptions in a ball game at 3. And you look into the eyes of a very disappointed Russell Wilson, who had a truly outstanding afternoon. They had 490 total yards. Passing yardage, 345, and the 3 picks. Very, very large in this ball game. And they'll keep it on the ground, running for the end zone, and the scoring is Evans with 28 seconds left in the ball game. And for people who will see this score tomorrow in their local paper, but maybe you're not necessarily in the Atlantic Coast Conference part of the world, they'll say, well, hey, Coach Beamer's got them going again, and they handled NC State pretty readily. Well, that's not the case. It was very, very tight the entire way.
And all of a sudden, Virginia Tech sitting at 2-0 in the Coastal Division. Miami got a win today against Clemson. North Carolina, with all the mess that's going on over there with the NCAA investigation.
Hazley with the extra point. That's good. So 41-30 the score. But Frank Beamer will have a bus ride home to think about this one. When you look at where they are in the state of Virginia, and to bus to Roanoke to catch a charter plane from there and then come down and then bus over here, just actually easier, more comfortable on the players. So that's how they will head back home, as as soon as their chores are done here at the stadium.
Well, and everybody in the country wrote them off after they lost Monday night to start the season against Boise State, and then just didn't play very well in the rain at home against James Madison. A huge upset, FCS over FBS. Righted the ship in the second half against East Carolina, got a big win there. A great shutout last week against Boston College, and now come in here in a game where gave up almost 500 yards of offense, but they got key stops from that middle of that second quarter on. But Foster made a couple of adjustments, and he kept telling us, guys, this guy Hosley, we changed our defense up a little bit. We have some guys in the secondary we really like, and now we're starting to see why. But, you know, put that into perspective. Russell Wilson last year set an NCAA record by 379 pass attempts without an interception. And tonight he's thrown 3. Should say this afternoon.
Well, it's after 6 o'clock is evening, so this evening and this afternoon. See, it took that a long time
to throw 3 of them.
Yeah. Well, here's the kick on the ground, picked up at the 40. And the clock runs at 22 seconds now. So it's going to be Virginia Tech going to 2-0 in conference play, 3-2 overall. And for Coach O'Brien's ball club, they will go to 4-1 overall and 1-1 in conference play. And I could simply say to North Carolina State people who are disappointed at what has happened in the latter stages of this ball game, and the Hokies holding on to come up with a win. This man is almost there, and you not only is this ball thrown for the end zone is knocked down. I think what happens when you got a guy like Tom O'Brien here, and it took 4 years to start getting the thing really going, is once you get your program turned around the way he wants it, you're there. You're there to stay, and it will be maintained as a good program.
Against the offense. 5-man in the backfield. 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
And
he is a Naval Academy graduate, for people that don't know about Tom. Then a Marine, was at Boston College, and then decided that he would be interested in taking this job down here.
Yep.
And between athletics and scholarship, he's very big on both.
And the one thing that he talks about all the time is no highs, no lows, right down the middle. And a rough day for his quarterback, game that looked like it was in their hands, gave up a kickoff return. They're not going to vary on their plan at all.
Pass over the middle, tackle is made, and it'll stop the clock until they get those changed down there, and maybe one more quick play, and that's it.
Yeah, well, you're only down 11, so if you got one like they tried on that first play and got an onside kick, but now I think they're going to have to just let this one run out.
Yep. The clock shows double zeros, and this one will go in the books as a win for the road team.